Hello everyone. So this is the part 3 of unit 1. Previously we have studied the terms used in pharmacology, sources of drugs, classification of pharmacology, and routes of administration. Now, and in the part 2 we have discussed pharmacodynamics. In this video lecture we are going to discuss about pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics is the study of drug movement in the body, that is, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination of the drug. That is the study of what happens to the drug from the time it is enters into our body and it leaves our body. So that is called as pharmacokinetics. And we study here A, D, M, E individually. In pharmacokinetics, what involves in drug absorption? So here in pharmacokinetic process, the drug enters into body. So how? Means by administration. Once the drug is administered, it is absorbed. So after absorption, it enters into the bloodstream. From there, it distributed to various parts of the body and reaches the site of action and is metabolized and then excreted. That all things that we are going to study in this pharmacokinetics topic. So before administration, before absorption, they should be transported. There should be a mechanism of absorption. So all the drugs that are transported across the cell membrane, across the membranes, by means of active transport or passive transport. Active transport requires transfer of drug against a concentration gradient, whereas a passive transport requires no energy. Without energy, it moves across the membrane. And specialized transport, in which carriers mean some sort of receptors are present, and then pinocytosis. Now we are going to see them. Coming to passive diffusion. Passive diffusion is the drug diffuses across the membrane and depends on the direction of the concentration of its concentration gradient. For example, here we see drug and it is the cytosol, means cytoplasm inside the cell, and this is the cell membrane. Here we see passive diffusion. We are studying about passive diffusion. Passive diffusion means some drug which enters into cytosol from higher concentration to lower concentration. The movement of drug from higher concentration to lower concentration across the membrane without requirement of any energy is called as passive diffusion. And next one is filtration. Filtration is the passage of drugs through pores that are present in the cell membrane or aqueous channels or aqueous pores, or the spaces between two cells. So that is called as filtration. And next one is carrier transport. Carrier transport is where a drug combines with the carrier, like enzyme or any receptor, which forms a complex and then enters into the cytoplasm. So this is called as carrier transport. In carrier transport, there are different types of transports. They are active transport. Active transport means the drug diffuses across the membrane in opposite direction of its concentration. Example, which requires energy. Example, levodopa and methyl dopa. Here we can see active transport. So this is the drug transporter. Here we have drug in higher concentrations, and here we have drug in lower concentrations. And the drug is transferred into cytoplasm from a place of lower concentration to the place of higher concentration, and this particular transport requires energy in the form of ATP. Okay, and next one is facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion means moving of drug from higher concentration to lower concentration, where it doesn't require any sort of energy, but substance, some sort of receptors or transporters are used or helpful in this particular diffusion. Here we can see in facilitated transport or facilitated diffusion, this is the drug at higher concentration, and this is the place at which drug is at lower concentration, and these are the transporters. So these transporter catches or captures the drug and releases into the cytoplasm. So this is facilitated diffusion. And next one is pinocytosis. It is the process of drug transport across the cell by forming vesicles. So this is the vesicular transport, even it is called as vesicular transport. So this is the larger drug molecule that cannot be entered or that cannot cross any sort of cell membrane. It forms a vesicle by attaching to the plasma membrane, and this type of transport is called as endocytosis or pinocytosis. Next, absorption. Absorption is defined as the passage of the drug from the site of administration into the systemic circulation is called as absorption. Absorption occurs by means of active or passive diffusion. So here factors affecting the absorption: aqueous solubility of the drug. So water soluble drugs are fastly absorbed than lipid soluble. So water soluble drugs are slowly absorbed than the lipid soluble drugs. And next one is concentration. Passive transport depends on the concentration gradient. So higher the concentration, higher the absorption. Area of the absorption and vascularity of the surface. Area of the absorption, larger the surface area, it aids the increased absorption, or larger the absorption. Vascularity of the absorbing surface means if there is increased blood flow, then there will be increased absorption. And next one is route of administration. Route of administration. So based on the route of administration, the absorption also differs. Next one is bioavailability. Bioavailability is the measure of fraction of administered drug dose through any route that reaches the systemic circulation in unchanged form. So when a drug enters or absorbed into the body in an unchanged form, it reaches the circulation in unchanged form, then it is called as bioavailability. Bioavailability in IV is 100% because we are directly administering the drug into the bloodstream without any change. Then it is called as 100% bioavailability. Bioavailability for oral drugs are reduced due to incomplete absorption, because the presence of food inside the stomach affects, which delays the absorption, or gastric emptying also one of the factor. And next one, if the drug undergoes first pass metabolism, means if the drug absorbed drug, if it does not enter into the systemic circulation, instead it enters into the liver where it gets metabolized, then it is called as first pass metabolism. So that also affects the bioavailability of the drug. Coming to distribution. Distribution means the drug, once it reaches the systemic circulation, it should reach the various parts of the body to our site of action to produce its effect. So once it reaches the circulation, it binds with plasma proteins. Acidic drugs usually binds to albumin and basic drugs binds to glycoprotein. So when they bind to protein and they are distributed to different areas of the body. So the distribution depends on lipid solubility, extent of binding to plasma tissue proteins, ionization at physiological pH, and differences in the regional blood flow, affinity for different tissues, and diseases like chronic heart failure, cirrhosis, and uremia. So this also affects the distribution. Protein binding of the drug acts as a reservoir and prolongs the duration of the action of drug. Coming to metabolism. Metabolism is the biotransformation of the drugs. It is also called as biotransformation. It is the process where the drug is changed or transformed from one form to other form. So it is the process of biochemical alteration of the drug in the body. The most important site or the primary site for drug metabolism is liver, and plasma is responsible for biochemical reactions, and other sites are kidney, intestine, lungs, and plasma. Biotransformation of drugs may lead to the following. So what happens in the biotransformation? So while the drug is entered into the plasma and then enters into the liver, then they may happen like inactivation of the drugs. For example, if we are taking any active drug like phenobarbital, morphine, or chloramphenicol, or propranolol, so when they enter into the liver, they may get transformed into inactive drug, which leads to inactivity of the drug. For that we need to take larger doses. So or we should go for other route of administration. So that is inactivation of the drug. An active metabolite from inactive drug or an active drug. Example, phenacetin to paracetamol. So it get transformed to active drug. And next one, activation of inactive drug. So here we have studied active metabolite from active drug. Drug, when it gets metabolized, the metabolite is also an active drug, active metabolite. So that is biotransformation, one type of biotransformation. And another one is in activation of inactive drug. So the drug which we take is inactive one and gets converted to active form. Example, levodopa. Levodopa is a prodrug. We call it as prodrug or inactive drug. When it enters into the body, it gets metabolized to form into an active drug called as dopamine. And then biotransformation reactions. Biotransformation reactions can be classified into two types. One is non-synthetic or phase 1 reaction, and second one is synthetic or phase 2 reactions. Phase 1 reactions are also called as metabolite may active or inactive, may become active or inactive. Whereas in phase 2 or synthetic phase, it gets conjugated. We call it as conjugated reactions. So here in phase 1, drug is converted into polar metabolite by oxidation, reduction, or hydrolysis and catalyzed by enzyme monooxygenase. By means of an enzyme monooxygenase, it gets converted to polar metabolite. Either it may activate or gets inactivated. So that is non-synthetic or phase 1 reaction. Whereas in phase 2, water soluble substances that are present in our body like sulfuric acid, amino acid combines with the drug. We call it as a sulfonation or conjugation. We call them as conjugation reactions. So when they combine with amino acid or sulfur group or sulfoxide, sulfuric acid to form highly polar compounds which is inactive and get readily excreted through kidneys. That is called as synthetic or phase 2 conjugation reactions. Coming to first pass metabolism. First pass metabolism is also called as pre-systemic metabolism. Pre-systemic metabolism means when the drug enters into the systemic circulation, it gets metabolized. So that is first pass metabolism. All oral administered drugs are metabolized by metabolizing enzymes in the intestinal wall and liver. So the drug that first reaches the portal vein. So first pass metabolism also occurs in the skin on transdermally administered drug in lungs, because there are also enzymes present in the skin and lungs. Coming to excretion. Excretion means elimination of the drug from body to outside. So the removal of systemically absorbed drug. So how they are excreted. So first one is urine or renal elimination. Urine, kidney is the most important route of excretion of most of the drugs. So if there are lipid soluble drugs, they are absorbed into the renal tubules and they are converted to eliminate through urine and feces through fecal elimination. Drugs derived from bile are excreted in feces. Example, organic acids undergoing glucuronidation, conjugation. They are more than 300 daltons in their molecular weight. They are eliminated in bile. Exhaled air, gases, volatile lipids, liquids, and are eliminated by lungs. Example, general anesthetics, alcohol, alveolar transfer of gases or vapor, which depends on the partial pressure in the blood. Saliva, drugs like rifampin, lithium potassium iodide, thiocyanates, and heavy metals are excreted through saliva and sweat. So the milk, through milk, certain drugs are eliminated through milk. So when a mother feeds their infants, and these drugs causes adverse effect in infants. So the drugs enter into the milk by passive diffusion. Lipid soluble and less protein bound drugs are easily excreted through milk. So we must consider lactating women for giving or administering some sort of drugs. Renal excretion. All water soluble compounds or substances are excreted through kidney. The amount of drug or its metabolites finally present in the urine is the sum of the total glomerular filtration. And coming to clearance. Clearance is defined as the drug present in the plasma from which the drug is completely removed in a unit time. Means the drug present in the plasma which is removed completely from the body, that is called as clearance. It can be calculated as Cl is equal to R by C. R is rate of elimination, whereas C is plasma concentration. Coming to first order kinetics. Kinetics means the movement of drug, the measure of movement of drug inside the body. So first order kinetics means which is exponential. So the rate of elimination is directly proportional to drug concentration and CL remains constant, or a constant fraction of drug present in the body is eliminated in unit time. So let us see here. First order kinetics means the rate of elimination is proportionally concentration to directly proportional to concentration. So here we can see the rate of elimination. If the rate of elimination is increased, which is directly proportional to drug concentration present in the body, the clearance is common or constant, it will not change. And zero order kinetics. Zero order kinetics, the rate of elimination remains constant irrespective of the drug concentration. How much amount is present, it doesn't affect the elimination. Clearance will decrease with the increase in concentration, or constant amount of drug is eliminated in unit time. Here we'll have constant amount of drug present in the body is eliminated. Here constant amount of drug is eliminated in unit time. So clearance decreases with increase in concentration. So that is zero order kinetics. Plasma half-life. Plasma half-life, it is the time taken for the plasma concentration to become half of the original value. That is called as plasma half-life. Coming to loading dose. Loading dose is the dose given at onset of therapy for aim of achieving a target concentration rapidly. So that is called as loading dose. Maintenance dose. Maintenance dose, this dose that is repeated at specified intervals after attainment of target concentration, so as to maintain the concentration of balancing elimination. That is called as maintenance dose. So let us see some examples in loading dose. Loading dose is the single large dose which is given at the beginning of the treatment. At the beginning of the treatment. So that is the loading dose. It has a disadvantage because the patient may be exposed to a higher concentration of the drug and may result in toxicity at sometimes. Example, digoxin, chloroquine, etc. They are given at larger dose at the starting of the treatment itself. So once the target is reached, to maintain the particular target, we will give some doses repetitively. We call them as maintenance dose. Coming to the pharmacokinetic changes in neonates, pediatrics and geriatrics. So first, absorption. In neonates and pediatrics, gastric pH is very less because the stomach is very immature approximately 1 to 2 years of age. So pH, and in geriatrics, gastric pH is very less because of reduction of the production of hydrochloric acid in stomach. So absorption varies because of the presence of this pH. Gastric emptying is slowed because of slower or immature GIT or irregular peristalsis, whereas in geriatrics the activity is completely declined, so gastric emptying is slowed. First pass elimination by liver is reduced because of immaturity of the liver. Liver is not completely developed, so microsomal enzymes is also not developed, so we cannot have a proper absorption or proper elimination. Whereas here it is also decreased, the activity of the liver is decreased, so we cannot have any sort of absorption, proper absorption. And topical absorption is very faster because of greater body surface, and here and body blood flow to the skin is very high, whereas here the blood in geriatrics, the blood flow to the GI tract is reduced and even to the body is also decreased, so the absorption is also decreases. Coming to the distribution, in infants 70 to 80% in infants, the full-time infants, 70 to 80% of drug is distributed, whereas in premature borns, newborns, 85% is distributed. In children, it is 64%. But as the age increases, the distribution gets decreased. In geriatrics, it gets reduced to almost 50 to 47%, 55 to 47%. Fat content is very less in younger patients because of greater total body water content. So because of the decreased body lean mass, fat content is increased. So distribution is very high in neonates, whereas the distribution is very low in geriatrics because of the higher fat content. Decrease the production of protein by immature levels, so protein binding is decreased, so distribution will be very high. And here the decreased protein binding, like albumin, which is reduced because of the impairment of or aging of the liver, so intake is also decreased. Metabolism. So in liver there will be decreased activity because of immature liver cells, so metabolism is decreased. Whereas in geriatrics, decreased hepatic metabolism, it decreases by 1.5% per year. Every year 1.5% is decreased, so will not have sufficient metabolism either for elimination or for activation of drugs. And in metabolism in premature infants is affected by many variables, including liver enzyme production, genetic differences, etc., etc. Coming to excretion, so because of the immaturity of the kidneys, glomerular filtration is very less, so the excretion is very less. And in geriatrics, glomerular filtration is very decreased, so the elimination is also decreased. Reduced renal function, which increases the drug dose, increases the drug concentration in the body, so perfusion may be decreased. And here in geriatrics, the contrary, the number of intact numbers are decreased. So these are the differences in the neonates, pediatrics and geriatrics. So by this we have completed part 3 of unit 1 pharmacology.